Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. So today I am feeling very undone because I have yet to do my brows. So recently I picked up a new brow pencil from Anastasia called the Brow Definer, and I thought I would compare it to some of the other brow products that I have. So I have 3 additional brow pencils that I'm going to compare against the Anastasia Brow Definer, so let's get started. So now that I have zoomed in a little bit closer to my face, I'm going to be testing out the new Anastasia Brow Definer. So this is what the little pencil looks like. On this end with the smaller stripe, it has a little spoolie just like that, and on the other end, the thicker side of this band, comes out the product in a little twist up, which I really like. So I purchased this brow definer in the shade Ebony, which is the same color that I picked up my brow wiz in, so I'm hoping that they are the same color. This brow definer has a little triangular nib instead of a really fine tip, but this is what the shade Ebony looks like when it is swatched. It is really dark and really cool toned, which is perfect for me. So now I'm going to be putting this on one of my brows. So I would classify this one as my good brow and this one as my not so good brow. I always find that this brow is a little bit more easier to fill in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be using the brow definer on my bad brow and see how well it fills it in. So I have my mirror down here and I'm just going to go look in it and see how well I like this product. So like always, I am starting underneath here and kind of filling in. I'm using little brush strokes to go into my brow. My brows are also not super groomed at the moment. I did pluck them like a couple weeks ago, so there are little tiny hairs poking through and they're not completely clean. So I'm just going to be using the spoolie to brush through and keep applying some product. I'm gently putting this in. This is really easy to fill in because the nib is kind of like triangular shaped, so it's really easy to get the product on there. So the tail of my brow is a little bit short, so I usually have to draw that in, and it's quite simple to do with this because it is the perfect shape to be doing tails with. So I'm just gently going to take that out a little bit and then brush through. I find that I can't really get a really precise tail with this. It is still kind of like fluffy and a little bit blurry because of the shape of it. So now I'm going to try and do this inner part, which I really like doing as like a gradient. So we'll see how well this works. I'm going in with lighter strokes than I did the rest of the brow because I don't want the inside to be too dark. I really like using this on the inside of my brow. I think it's very easy, very simple, and I can do that gradient effect without putting too much product on there. So this is the brow definer in the shade Ebony, and I actually do quite like it. It kind of reminds me of the Hourglass Arch, which is what I'm going to put on my next brow. It was very easy to fill in, and I think it looks pretty good on camera as well. Sometimes I find a lot of brow products look good in person and not so good on camera, or vice versa. But this one looks pretty good in person as well as on camera. The only thing I would say is you can't really get really precise lines if you use this. You can kind of see where I filled it in. It does match my brow hairs really nicely though. The shade Ebony is just perfect for me. So now that I have this brow done with Anastasia, now I'm going to compare it side by side with this product, which is the Hourglass Arch Brow Sculpting Pencil, and I have this in the shade Soft Brunette. So I'm going to be using the same technique that I did with the other brow, but I'm going to be using this product. Now, I had this product for a very long time, and I'm pretty sure the colors are completely different. This one is much more ashy, so let's see what it looks like. So I'm going to be using the same technique starting down here. I think these two products are quite similar, especially in shape. When I saw Anastasia come out with this brow definer, I was like, that looks exactly like Hourglass. So let's just see if they compare. Right now I'm feeling like this one is a little bit more dry and more waxy than the Anastasia one. I think the Anastasia is more creamier, but that can also be because this product is a little bit older. I've had it for quite a long time now. So I'm just doing my tail the same way as I did my other one. In with the front, same way as I did the brow definer, just going very, very lightly and trying to get that gradient. So just to recap, this one is Anastasia and this one is Hourglass. In person they look quite similar. Obviously the Hourglass one is a little bit more ashy and a little bit more brown. This one is a lot more darker than the Hourglass one. The brow definer did a pretty good job at filling in my bad brow. This is pretty good for what I can do in like 5 minutes. I really like the texture of this one. I think the pigmentation on this is really good as well. I do find that both of these aren't quite precise. You can't do individual hairs because of the main shape. I feel like if you are a beginner at doing brows and you have quite good natural brows in the first place, then I would suggest going for one of these two. Just to compare the two applicators, the Hourglass one is just a little bit more fatter than the Anastasia one. You can definitely be a little bit more precise with the Anastasia one, but not by much because they are still like massive triangles. So really it is up to you. I really like how both of my brows turned out with these two products. Again, that is because I have quite good natural brows in the first place. So now I'm going to be taking off my Hourglass brow and I'm going to be trying some more finer pencils instead. So I have the NYX one and the Anastasia one right now. So let's just take this off first, and I'm going to go in with NYX first. Alright, so the next brow product I'm going to be using is the NYX Micro Brow in the shade Ash Brown. This one has the little twist up on one end just like the others and a spoolie on the other. Again, I'm starting down here, doing little tiny brush strokes. So like I said, this is in the shade Ash Brown. I don't think it's going to be matching my brows today. I bought this when my hair was a little bit lighter and more warm. But as for application, you can kind of see as I'm applying it, this one kind of like pulls the skin a little bit. It is quite a bit more waxy than all of the ones that I've tried. You can get really, really nice thin strokes though. So as you can see from my tail, I can get a little bit more precise and elongate that tail a little bit more. So I really like that and how this one is quite a bit smaller. But now going in to the front side, which I want to do as a gradient and a little bit lighter than the rest of my brow. I do find that sometimes if I press too hard with this pencil, it can deposit like a lot of product on the beginning of your stroke. If that makes sense, like if you push hard in the beginning as you're drawing it in, you can get like a little smear of product and then it fades. Again, I have the brow definer on this side and I have the NYX micro pencil on this side, and I think I do like the brow definer a little bit more. As you can see on the NYX side, I can get a little bit more precise, but the shade isn't as good as this brow definer. The texture of this is also a lot more waxy than the Anastasia one, so that's something to take into account. If you have naturally nice brows, then this probably wouldn't make a difference, but if you're drawing them on and you have like no brows or only a little bit of brow hairs, then that might make a difference for you. So the final test is Anastasia against Anastasia. I'm going to be keeping this brow as the brow definer, and then I'm going to go in with the Brow Wiz on this side. Alright, so I have my Brow Wiz in the exact same shade as my brow definer. They are both in the shade Ebony, so we're going to see a little bit of the shade difference here. So this one is the brow definer that I already put on in the beginning of the video, and now I'm just going to do a little swatch of the next one. So as you can see, they are basically the same color. If I had to be picky, the brow definer is a little bit more warm than the original Brow Wiz, but I think on the brows they won't make a difference. So I'm going in the same motion as I did, starting over here, filling in tinier brush strokes. I can definitely see that I can get more precise on this tail. You can see it's quite a bit sharper than this one on this side. I think I'm going very heavy-handed on this side. I probably should brush it out a little bit. See if I can get that gradient down. So as you saw, they were both easy to put on. They both took around the same time. I feel like I took a little bit more time with the brow definer to fill in a little bit more of the gaps. As you can see, the tails They are quite similar, but I feel like you can get a lot more precise with the Brow Wiz. I much like that better than that one. This one is kind of blurry and was a little bit more tough for me to do. The gradient on the inner portion of my brow was much nicer on the brow definer side than it was on the Brow Wiz side. I'm going to try and make this inner part a little bit more darker to match the other Brow Wiz side to see how they compare. Right now I can't really decide which one I like better. I do really like the brow definer side, and I do really like the Brow Wiz side. I think it just remains preference. Right now I'm kind of leaning towards the Brow Wiz side because I've been using it for so long, and I think I just really like strong brows at the moment. So I just checked the prices and how much product you get in each of these sticks, and the brow definer comes in at 0.007 grams, and this one comes in at 0.003 grams. This one is also $30, and the Brow Wiz is $27. So to sum this video up, I think the Hourglass Arch and the brow definer are basically the same product, just one a little bit thicker than the other. If you want really fast, quick brows, then I would suggest going for one of these two. I think the only problem is finding your perfect shade. Thinner pencils, honestly, I think both of these, the Anastasia Brow Wiz and the NYX pencil are basically the same. The NYX is just a little bit more waxy, but if you guys do not want to pay like $27 for a Brow Wiz, you can totally go for NYX. If you are always short on time, however, I would really suggest going for these bigger ones. It will literally cut your time in half versus these thinner ones. So overall, I think I prefer the Anastasia brands as a whole. I think Anastasia just kills it in the brow game. I have yet to try their brow pomade, so I might have to pick that up and see how that compares. I still really like both of these brows, and I'm not sure which I like best out of these two, but if you like a stronger brow, I would suggest going for the Brow Wiz, and if you want something a little bit softer, then the brow definer. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was very informative for you guys. So please do leave comments down below as to which brow you guys like best. I will put it on my social media as well, so you guys can comment there too. Also, if you have another brow favorite that you want me to try, then leave them in the comments below and I will definitely check it out. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, but I think that is it for me today, guys, and I will see you next time. Bye!